Hi everyone, welcome to jQuery series part 2. I'm Karthik. In this session, we are going to discuss about jQuery selectors. I've already created the HTML code snippet to explain the jQuery selector concepts. This jQuery uses the CSS selectors. I have already published a video on CSS selector. Please you can refer that video for before going through the session, so that will be seriously helping you a lot. So jQuery uses the same CSS selectors to select the DOM element. So the important part here in selectors is if you master selector, then only you can master jQuery. So mastering selectors is a very important concept to show your technical skills in the jQuery. Okay, so when you're talking about the selector, as we discussed in part 1, you all know dollar stands for jQuery. It's an alias for jQuery. Okay, so to the jQuery function, so you need to write Q in caps. To the jQuery function, you are supposed to give the selector expression. You are supposed to provide the selector expression. So this selector expression is nothing but your CSS selector. So jQuery borrows the concept of CSS selector to select the DOM elements. So after selecting, we can do any sort of manipulation, but as I already mentioned, selectors is a very important key in order to master your jQuery skills. So to follow with the example, look at this. I have just created a DOM structure like this. That is, I have created a paragraph with the ID, a paragraph with the class, a paragraph inside a div tag, a paragraph with custom attributes. For your information, in HTML5, okay, if you are creating a custom attribute, then it needs to be compulsorily prefixed with data dash. For instance, for paragraph tag, we have inbuilt attributes like align is there, title is there, ID is there. These are all the inbuilt attributes. If I want to provide my own attributes to the HTML element, according to HTML5, it needs to be prefixed with data dash. Otherwise, when you try to run this in validator.w3.org, when you select HTML5 in experimental mode, it will throw errors. So it is always advisable to create the custom attribute using by prefixing with data dash. Okay, so I'm having some custom attribute with some values. Then I'm having some form elements. If you look at this form element, I'm having a text box, radio button, checkbox, button, submit button, hidden, etc. Then I have referred the script file which is available in my script folder. Okay, so as usual, we are going to use Google Chrome developer tools. In the developer tools, I'm just trying to explain you how to select this DOM elements, and I'll be trying to provide as much as possible. So we'll try to cover as much as possible in the selector point of view. So let me start. I'm going to launch this in Chrome, run launch in Chrome, so that it will get open in the Chrome browser. So once it is open in the Chrome browser, I'm going to open the developer tools. So you all know already, to open the developer tools, we need to press F12. So let me press F12 so that you can see the developer tool is successfully open. So we are going to start one by one, and I'm just going to copy and paste the result in our notepad++ file, that is here. We are just going to have a comment. So whatever selectors we are going to type in our developer tool, the result I'm just going to copy and paste it here. So let me start. In the Google Chrome, the first selector that we are going to see here is the universal selector. So how to create or how to select all the DOM element of the current HTML file? We can use the universal selector. So to create a universal selector, or to use a universal selector, you need to just use jQuery. You need to specify with star. So in CSS, the same thing. Okay, so star denotes universal selector. So you can see that as soon as I type, it brings almost all the HTML elements. So star denotes universal selector. So I'm just going to copy this, put it in my notepad++. Okay, so the star denotes the universal selector. And let me wrap it. Just a minute. Okay, so the first selector that we have seen here is the universal selector. So universal selector will select all the DOM element of your current HTML file. The second selector we are going to see here is the tag selector. So how to work with the tag selector? For instance, in this HTML code snippet, I want to select all the paragraph. That is called as the tag selector. So to select the paragraph, we need to go for the tag selectors. So let me clear the console. So I want to select all the paragraphs. So just you need to provide the tag name. So this is called as a tag selector. So it will give you all the paragraphs for you. So let me copy that, put it in my notepad++. Yes, we have the tag selector. So the third selector we are going to see here is the ID selector. So if you notice, in our DOM we have one paragraph with the ID P2. So it is very important to know here is we cannot assign the same ID to another DOM element. It is not a best practice. You are not supposed to do it in fact. Okay, I am having a paragraph which is provided with the ID P2. I need to select this element. So how can I select it? Once again, this is called as ID selector. So to select the element based on ID, we need to use hash followed by P2. P2 is the ID. This is called as ID selector. So it will retrieve that. And the important point to note here is you can see whenever I use the selector, okay, this selector will return a jQuery object. There is a lot of difference between a jQuery object and a DOM object. So let me just show the difference to you. For example, I want to select the element based on the ID. Without jQuery, we used to do like this. If you remember, document.get the element by ID, give the ID there. The ID here is P2. See that? You can see that it's a raw DOM element, whereas when you look at here you can see a pair of bracket. It is like it is provided inside the array, but it is actually a jQuery object. So the important thing to note here is the whenever you use this jQuery selector expression, it will return jQuery object maximum time. Okay, it will always return a jQuery object. Okay, so let me copy this ID selector. Third one is the ID selector. And for your information, this is the fastest way to locate a DOM element. So if you have an option of selecting, or I want to locate an element and that element is already having an ID, the best way to locate it is with the help of ID selector. You are supposed to use this hash followed by P2. Then the next selector is the class selector. So what is this class selector? So in the class selector, if you notice, we have two paragraphs here, okay, with the class para. So when you are seeing in the CSS perspective, okay, this can be highlighted. For example, I want to highlight all the paragraph which is having the class, not all the paragraph, or any HTML element which is having the class para. We used to go with dot para and we'll be providing the CSS properties. But here it is used to group You can even consider class as a group. I'm just grouping it. So this paragraph and this paragraph is grouped with para. Okay, because we are not going to do the styling work with the help of the selectors. We are just going to provide some behavior for that. So that's a major difference between CSS selectors and the jQuery selector. The CSS selector, what does it do in this sense? It will select the element so that we can apply some styles over that. Whereas when I'm using jQuery selectors, it is used to retrieve the DOM element so that I can provide some sort of behavior, or I can do some sort of manipulation with that particular element other than style. Not only style, we can do anything with that. So that's the intention of selecting the DOM elements using jQuery selectors. Okay, now it is grouped. Now how to select those elements? That's what we are going to see now. So let me select it. To select the DOM element based on the class, we need to use dollar followed by a dot. So here the dot means class selector. So let me give the class. The class name is para. This is called as a class selector. So you can see that it retrieved the paragraph with the classes para. Let me copy that. So this is class selector. Next. The next selector we are going to see here is the hierarchical. Under the hierarchical selector, we have one important selector called ascendant and descendant. For instance, I just want to get all the paragraphs which is under a div tag. Okay, get all the paragraph under a div tag. So to retrieve that, so dollar. So this will select the div tag, but now I'm asking div space p. When I provide this div space p, get the paragraph which is under the div tag. Okay, that p tag can be a immediate child, or it can be even a grandchild as well. Okay, so when I press enter, you can see that it retrieves that. That is, it returns a jQuery object for us. So let me just copy that. And the fifth one is ascendant and descendant. That is parent child. Okay, then the next selector we are going to see here is the attribute selector. I just want to get the HTML elements which is having an attribute called data-custom. So let me try that out. Get all the HTML element which is having the attribute data-custom. You can see that. So it retrieved all the HTML element which is having the data-custom. So this is called as attribute selector. Okay, then in the attribute selector itself, we have a lot of options. So first let me see. So under this, I just want to get the, if you look at this, we have data-custom. I just want to get the HTML element which is having data-custom, and it should have exactly foo as its value. To do that, data-custom, okay, equal to foo. So this is with the exact value, with exact value. Attribute with the exact value. Okay, then I just want to get the attributes starts with, okay, starts with foo, starts with the value foo. So to do that, we need to use a caret sign in front of the equal to symbol. Like, let me provide that caret symbol here. This is called as a caret symbol, C-A-R-E-T. So starts with foo. If you see that, it starts with foo. Okay, how to get the element or HTML element with the attribute data-custom which is having the value wax at its end. Okay, at the end of the ending value must be wax. So you need to denote it with the help of a dollar. Ends with the value quacks. See that? It retrieved that element. Okay. Then I want to get some element which has the data dash custom, and the value can be anywhere. It can be either at the beginning stage or at the end. It should work. So how to do that? We can go ahead and ask star. Star means contains actually. Okay. So get the elements which is having data dash custom attribute which contains the value bar, which attribute contains the value. So contains means anywhere. It can be at the beginning or it can be at the end. It should have that. That's it. Okay. So these are all some of the important attribute selectors that you are supposed to know. So exact value starts with, ends with, and contains. So let me just copy that. Paste it here. Yes. So this is 6th and this one is 7, 8, 9 selector, and this is the 10th one. Okay. So we have seen the attribute selectors. Now let me just move our concept to select the form elements. Okay. So to select the form elements, to select any form element, we need to use :input. So when I say :input, it comes under a concept called filters in fact. Okay. So I'm just going to filter it like :input. Get all the form elements. It's not only the elements which is having the tag input, even it can select tag, submit button, anything, text area, all form elements will be selected here for this selector. So it will select all form elements. So in our DOM we have a lot of form elements. See that it picked up all the form elements. Okay, then let me just copy this form elements. So I've copied all the form elements. Next, I just want to get only the text boxes. Now you know how to retrieve all the form elements, but I want to get only the text boxes. So to get only the text box, we need to use another filter called :text. It will retrieve only the text boxes. You can see that when I hover it, you can see that particular text box is getting highlighted. So it's trying to retrieve all the text boxes here. So this is text. Okay. How about radio button? So this will get the text and this will get the radio buttons. And if I want to retrieve the checkboxes, we need to say :checkbox, which will retrieve the checkboxes. Only the checkbox. Okay. And I want to get only the buttons. So to get the buttons, we need to say :button, which will retrieve only the buttons. We got the buttons. And I want to get the submit button. If you look at that, it doesn't select the submit button. If I want to select the submit button, we need to use :submit. SUBMIT, which will retrieve the submit button. Okay. So we have seen how to select the form elements. So :text will select the text box, radio will select the radio button, checkbox will select all the checkboxes, button will select the buttons, and :submit will select the submit button, and it will just retrieve and give it back to us. So let me copy this, paste it here. So this will select the text boxes, radio buttons, checkbox, then this is buttons, and this is submit button. So we got the form elements. Okay, in this form element itself, we can further apply some more filters. For instance, you all know how to select the text box. So to select the text box, jQuery, we need to use the filter :text. That will select the text box for us. Whereas, if you look at this, it will select, I want to select only the disabled text box. So for that, we need to apply one more filter, that is :disabled. So this will select the disabled item, disabled form element. So in this case, the form element is a text box. Yes. So :disable is used to select the disabled form element. Okay. What about the visible form element? I just want to get all the visible form element. If you look at this, these two text boxes are visible for us. So we have an option called :visible. If suppose you have anything, a hidden text box, that text box won't be displayed here. So visible form element. So in this case, the form element is once again a text box. So we got that. Then I just want to get the hidden field. If you look at that code snippet, you can see there is a input type equal to hidden. I want to retrieve this form element. So to retrieve that form element, we need to use, so you all know this is :input will select all the form elements, but I want to get the hidden one. Okay, so this is hidden form element, hidden field in fact. So it will return the hidden fields. Okay, and similarly, okay, let me copy up to this. So we got the hidden fields. Let me clear the console screen. Okay, now I just want to get the radio button. So to get the radio button, you all know dollar, that is jQuery :radio will give you all the radio buttons. But I want to get only the checked radio button. So :checked will return checked radio button. Simple. Okay. So we got the check radio button. Let me copy this as well. So this is the 20th selector. Okay. Next. Let me clear the console. Okay. Now, once again, you all know how to select the paragraph. So if I want to select the paragraph, we used to say dollar. This is a tag selector. It will retrieve all the paragraphs. Now I want to apply some filters on this. So to apply some filters, first I want to get the first paragraph. So this :first is applicable even for form element as well. I want to get the for example, if I say :text, that will give you the all the text boxes. In that I can get the first text box as a selector. So let me try that. I'm going to get the paragraph, that is the first paragraph. So this will get the first paragraph, okay, or a first element, first occurring element. Okay, so here it is a paragraph. So you can use text box as well. Okay, first is done. What about last? So I just want to retrieve the last occurring element. So last paragraph. So this is a last paragraph. You can just even check that out. So in this is the last paragraph. In our code snippet, that's the last paragraph, so that it's trying to display that foo bar quacks. Okay, what about if I want to retrieve a particular one? For example, :p will give you all the paragraph. I want to get the first paragraph once again, okay, but in a different way with the help of another filter called EQ. it will return once again the first occurring element. If I want to get the sixth paragraph, we need to say 5, that is fifth occurrence. This is the fifth paragraph. Sorry, not fifth, it is actually a sixth paragraph. Sorry, let me just change it. That's a sixth paragraph. The another interesting part is like I just want to get the paragraph which contains the word like. Okay, I'm going to get the paragraph which contains the word like. So to do that, we have to get all the paragraph. Just apply a filter called contains. That is, it's going to contains the word like. Then press enter. You can see that it retrieved the paragraph which contains the word like. Is that clear? Okay. So let me just copy up to this. So just paste it. So 21st, that is get the first occurring element, last occurring element, first occurring element once again, but with the help of EQ. This is not fifth, actually this is the sixth paragraph. Sixth occurring element, and it is used to get the paragraph contains. Okay, get element containing the given text, contains the given text. So as an inner text, you should have the word like, then it will retrieve that. Okay. Then another interesting stuff are like I can get all the paragraph, but I want to get the paragraph which is available in the odd position. That is, get the elements in odd position. So this will take 1, 3, 5, etc. Whereas if I want to get the even position, we need to use :even filter. So get the element in the even positions. That is, it starts from 0. So 0 to 4, etc. Okay, this will be very much important for us. Like if I want to do some sort of alternate what is a row highlight and all this stuff, this particular selector will be very useful for us. Okay. And as a important thing, now we have seen a lot of selectors. So let me copy this first and paste it. It's 26th one and 27th. Yeah. Okay. So we have seen almost all the important selectors. The key point here is you need to give the preference like this. First, try to give the preference for ID selector. When you can locate an element with ID, you need to always select it with ID selector. Then you need to go with the class selector, then the tag selector, then attribute. So we need to create or retrieve the element in such a way that it can do the searching traversal, searching algorithm very quickly. For example, I just want to get the text box. Okay, I want to get the text box. To get the text box, rather writing first :input, then :text. Yes, I can get the text box like this. But we have a selector, dedicated selector available for that. So better use :text itself. Okay, so you need to, the precedence is there. You need to use the appropriate selectors. So once again, mastering selectors is the key for learning jQuery. Okay, now let me share the visual cheat sheet. I'll show you from where to download. Give me a moment. I'll open my Google Chrome. Okay, so look at this. I've opened the Google Chrome. In the search engine, I've typed jQuery visual cheat sheet. So you can see a PDF version for that. Click this. I've opened the jQuery visual cheat sheet. It is based on 1.7. nothing wrong in using this API cheat sheet. So if you look at that, it gives the entire API information. Okay, API stands for Application Programming Interface. So the first page, it starts with selectors. You can see that it starts with all selector, that is universal selector, and there are a lot of options. For example, how to select the buttons, how to select the checkbox. The interesting part is when you click that, it will take you to the jQuery website with examples. For example, I want to know more about this EQ selector. Click that, so it will take me to the API jQuery.com EQ selector with the perfect example, so that you can learn more selectors. But in the session, we have seen almost some 27 different ways of selecting a DOM element. So here it's moved into the EQ selector. You can see the code snippet for that, how they have selected and what sort of work they have done. Okay, so this is all about selectors. I hope you all enjoyed my session. So you can wait for my part 3, which is nothing but a DOM manipulation and how to work with JSON. Thank you all guys.